Russia continues its shelling in eastern Ukraine after a deadly attack on a bakery has left 28 people dead. As Israeli airstrikes continue on hospitals in Gaza, the international community is searching for a solution to the conflict. The US has warned of, quote, further retaliation on Iran-backed militants after a series of airstrikes in Yemen over the weekend. A record-breaking Grammys as Taylor Swift takes home her 4th award for Album of the Year with Midnights. Moscow forces have unleashed a fierce attack on Ukrainian troops on the front line of the eastern city of Avdiivka, according to Ukraine's general staff. It comes as at least 28 people are now confirmed dead in Saturday's shelling of a bakery in the eastern Ukrainian city of Lysychansk, which is under Russian occupation. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is considering replacing several senior officers and, quote, not just in the military. It comes amid speculation that the president is about to dismiss the commander of Ukraine's military, Valery Zaluzhny. Zelensky's comments came after he made a trip to Ukrainian troops on the southeastern front line to hand out medals. Zelensky used the visit to announce a new mayor of the frontline Zaporizhia region, Ivan Fedorov. Fedorov was once abducted by Russia and was previously mayor of the now temporarily occupied Melitopol since December 2020. Paramedics bring the dead and injured to a central Gaza hospital on Sunday after the latest in a day of deadly Israeli strikes on the town of Deir al-Balah. At least 7 people were killed and 15 others injured when a strike hit a house in the town. Israeli airstrikes across Gaza appear to be intensifying, particularly in the southern city of Rafah, a tiny pocket of the territory where more than 1 million people are now sheltering. Amid growing tensions in Israel's government over the war, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the region for his 5th trip since the militant group Hamas attacked Israel on October the 7th, killing at least 1,200 people and taking about 250 people hostage. Meanwhile, his French counterpart, Stéphane Séjourné, traveled to Egypt.
Nous œuvrons en faveur d'un cessez-le-feu. Mais nous devons également préparer le retour de l'autorité palestinienne à Gaza avec une gouvernance renouvelée. Sa légitimité dépendra aussi du respect effectif des prérogatives, notamment par les Israéliens. Elle dépendra enfin de sa capacité à obtenir des résultats tangibles pour la sécurité et le quotidien des Palestiniens et pour la reconnaissance de leurs droits politiques.
At the moment, the emphasis is on increasing the trickle of humanitarian aid being allowed into Gaza. The UN has warned of an impending famine affecting more than 2 million people. The US plans more strikes in the Middle East against Iran-backed groups, according to its National Security Council spokesman. John Kirby gave the warning hours after a series of US air assaults on dozens of sites in Iraq and Syria used by Iranian-backed militants. They were in retaliation for the drone strike that killed 3 US troops in Jordan last weekend.
This wasn't just a message-sending routine tonight. This was about degrading capability, taking away, in a more robust way than we have in the past, taking away capabilities by the militant groups. These responses began tonight. They're not going to end tonight.
Meanwhile, funerals have been held in Baghdad for one of the militants killed in the US strikes. The air raid had been followed by another attack conducted by a coalition of US allies against 36 Houthi targets in Yemen. Houthi rebels have been attacking international shipping in the Red Sea, claiming it was in support of the Palestinians in Gaza. The US says it is not seeking to escalate the Israeli war with Hamas and is conducting talks with numerous countries in the region. But analysts say Washington is treading a diplomatic tightrope.
Parisians have voted to triple parking charges for heavy polluting SUVs, with over 54% supporting the measure. Spearheaded by Mayor Anne Hidalgo, the plan targets vehicles exceeding 1.6 tons. If approved by the Paris Council in May, the new rates will start from September, charging €18 per hour in central districts and €12 in suburbs. The move aims to curb air pollution and improve road safety. People visiting Paris in SUVs could now pay up to €18 per hour to park.
Okay, the vote is closed.
The European Greens approved their manifesto in Lyon on Sunday. The document will serve as a common manifesto for all the continent's Green groups for the European elections in June, but it is also the roadmap for the next 5 years in European Parliament. It prioritises strengthening the Green Pact and improving social justice.
Le premier chapitre, c'est un chapitre qui demande un pacte vert et social, et c'est une manière d'expliquer pourquoi, alors que certains essayent de faire croire que l'écologie est l'ennemi de la justice sociale, nous démontrons qu'au contraire, non seulement c'est pas l'ennemi, mais c'est la seule solution crédible pour amener la justice sociale aujourd'hui et répondre à la crise du pouvoir d'achat qui est la préoccupation majeure des Européens aujourd'hui.
Another priority for the Greens will be to defend democracy and the rule of law within the European Union. They also want solutions to geopolitical tensions. The Greens have been working on this manifesto for almost a year. Speaking to Euronews, the Greens insisted environmental policy should still be a top priority for Europe, in spite of calls for a pause in the climate effort.
What I hear from both movements, NGOs, from companies is actually let's have an ambitious green transition. And if we do it together, if we really make the choice to do this, put it forward as a plan, private sector is along as well. What I hear right now is the right wing saying, let's put a break to the Green Deal, let's stop all the transition talk. But that's not what I hear when I talk to neither civil society nor the private sector. They actually want a plan that takes us forward and not backwards.
This is the manifesto the newly elected heads of the Green List, Terry Reich and Bas Eickhout, will have to defend. The party is confident they can beat the polls, which predict a difficult election for the Greens. They call it the Bronx. But this is not the neighbourhood of New York. It is on the outskirts of Naples, a working-class neighbourhood where, at the end of the 80s, 2 large public housing buildings were built hastily and badly following the terrible earthquake of 1980. After 40 years of waiting and 7 years of fighting for the construction of decent homes, today the inhabitants of the neighbourhood can finally celebrate. The dilapidated buildings will be replaced by new, smaller buildings with green areas, urban gardens and sports fields.
Abbiamo iniziato a porre, un problema vero, concreto alle istituzioni di dire a San Giovanni a Teduccio ci sono 360 nuclei familiari che hanno diritto ad avere una casa però dignitosa.
But the demolition could lead to the possible loss of the murals of Iorit, a street artist known throughout the world who brought beauty and identity to a place forgotten by most. Iorit painted the largest Maradona mural in the world, which is here in Naples.
Io sono sorpreso dall'incredibile affetto che le persone mi hanno dimostrato e hanno dimostrato soprattutto non nei miei confronti ma nei confronti dell'opera, soprattutto di Diego. Sono stato sommerso da messaggi, chiamate, non posso camminare, che qualcuno mi dice di fare qualcosa per salvare Diego.
Noi faremo in modo che la demolizione di questa parete venga fatta in modo controllato, in modo da poter recuperare tutte le parti che possono essere ricomposte in un luogo prossimo naturalmente a questo quartiere.
Io credo fortemente nel valore della cultura, dell'arte, dell'aggregazione, del sociale, quello che poi ci rende davvero umani. Quindi adesso che abbiamo vinto questa battaglia per le case, bisogna fare una battaglia per dire che dopo le case, dopo il lavoro, dopo il cibo, noi siamo esseri umani, abbiamo bisogno anche di arte, di cultura.
Questi due palazzi alle mie spalle, simbolo del degrado del quartiere San Giovanni a Teduccio alla periferia est di Napoli, verranno abbattuti per fare posto a costruzioni dignitose, adatte alla dignità delle persone che adesso ci vivono e che da anni combattono per dare bellezza al loro quartiere. Luca Palamara per Euronews, Napoli.
Taylor Swift achieved a record at the 66th Grammy Awards last night, becoming the first artist to win her 4th Grammy for Album of the Year.
I get to work with one of my best friends who is...
She used the moment to announce that she is working on a new album called The Tortured Poets Department. It is set to come out on the 19th of April.
And the Grammy goes to...
On another note, Miley Cyrus won 2 awards for her song Flowers, Record of the Year and Best Solo Performance. Billie Eilish won Song of the Year for writing the Barbie hit What Was I Made For? She thanked director Greta Gerwig for making, quote, the best movie of the year.
Thank you so much. I promise you to give you my best.
Karol G made Grammy history by becoming the first female performer to win Best Urban Music Album for her blockbuster Mañana Será Bonito record.
I really don't know life at all.
And the Best Folk Album went to Joni Mitchell, who starred in an emotional first performance at the gala. It is her 10th Grammy so far.